Story 1. This nightmare unfolded for me on New Year's Eve in 2018, right in the heart of rural Michigan, just beyond the outskirts of Detroit. I'd been wrapping up my fall term at Michigan State University, lingering on campus a bit longer than planned due to some family complications that left me spending the holidays in near isolation. The flight back was uneventful, but my spirits were already low. As a die-hard Lions fan, watching them drop their last game of the season at the airport lounge, sealing a humiliating shutout record, felt like a personal defeat. It was the kind of loss that stings deep, reminding me of all the futile hopes I'd pinned on the team since childhood. To make matters worse, my plane was delayed by hours, throwing our family plans into chaos. We were meant to caravan together to my aunt's place for a lively New Year's gathering, complete with fireworks and midnight toasts. But the setback forced my folks to head out without me in the family SUV. I was left to navigate the journey solo in our old backup sedan, though my dad softened the blow by leaving our faithful Labrador Max to ride shotgun. Max had always been my steadfast companion, his wagging tail and goofy grin a balm for any bad day. I wasn't excited about the lone drive, but with him along, I convinced myself it could turn into a reflective road trip, maybe even therapeutic after the semester's stresses. By the time the cab from the airport dropped me at home, the clock was pushing 10:30 p.m. I tossed my luggage into the trunk without unpacking, scooped up Max, secured the house, and hit the highway. The route wound through desolate stretches of Michigan countryside, endless expanses of barren farmland interspersed with dense thickets of evergreens. A faint sprinkle of frost coated the ground, but thankfully no heavy accumulation. I despise the slipperiness of winter roads, the way they turned every curve into a potential hazard. The night was ink black, with only my high beams slicing through the void, occasionally illuminating a distant barn or silo, standing sentinel like forgotten ghosts. About midway, Max began to fidget and let out soft, insistent whimpers. At first, I chalked it up to boredom or a need for pets, but soon he was on his paws, circling restlessly in the front seat. It dawned on me, he had to relieve himself. I sighed in frustration, scanning for a safe pull-off. The spot I found was narrow, a mere gravel shoulder hugging the tree line. But it sufficed. Stepping out, I shoved my hands deep into my coat pockets against the biting chill. The darkness was absolute. Without the sparse, icy patches reflecting moonlight, the woods would have swallowed everything in sight. Max, ever the enthusiastic explorer, bounded out unleashed, his breath puffing in excited clouds as he nosed along the forest's edge, oblivious to the cold that nipped at my exposed skin. He didn't stray far, just enough to handle his business, when a sudden, thunderous crash erupted from the depths of the timber. It wasn't a mere twig snap. This was forceful, intentional, like a massive form barreling through underbrush with reckless abandon. The sound jolted me upright, my pulse spiking as if I'd been electrocuted. Picture a hulking figure crashing wildly through branches. That's the visceral image that flooded my mind. I strained my eyes into the gloom, but visibility ended at the nearest trunks. Before I could process it, Max shot into the woods like an arrow, vanishing into the shadows in a heartbeat. Panic surged through me, a parent's dread for a lost child, amplified by the isolation. I bellowed his name repeatedly, my voice cracking in the frigid air, but only silence answered. My chest tightened, breaths coming shallow and ragged. The cold seemed to constrict my lungs further. Abandoning him wasn't conceivable. He was family. Without a second thought, I plunged after him, flashlight app on my phone casting a feeble glow, the snow-crusted ground crunching underfoot. Branches whipped at my face, roots threatened to trip me, but adrenaline propelled me forward. What could he be pursuing? A deer? Something worse? I shoved the thoughts aside, focusing on the chase, my mind a whirlwind of fear and determination. I pushed on until exhaustion forced a halt, lungs burning from the icy inhalations. Leaning against a rough bark trunk, tears welled up unbidden. I felt utterly helpless, lost in this labyrinth of trees. Then a miracle. Max emerged, slinking low with a tremble, tail clamped in submission. I'd never witnessed him so cowed, his usual exuberance shattered. I knelt, enveloping him in a hug, waves of relief crashing over me like a tide. His fur was damp with sweat, body quaking against mine. Whatever he'd encountered had scarred him deeply. Reality hit hard. We were vulnerable, exposed, with that ominous presence lurking nearby. I hauled us up, commanding him to heel, and he complied instantly, pressing close as if fused to my leg. We retraced our steps, or what I hoped were them, disorientation gnawing at my confidence. Then another crash echoed from behind, closer this time, shattering the fragile calm. Terror gripped me. I sprinted blindly, Max leading the way. The pursuit was relentless, branches snapping in pursuit, fueling my nightmare visions of being hunted. My heart hammered, legs screamed in protest, but survival instinct overrode all. By sheer luck, Max guided us back to the car. I flung him inside, diving after, slamming the door as my eyes flicked to the rear view. Horror iced my veins. 3 silhouettes loomed at the wood's fringe, motionless observers in the night. I ignited the engine and peeled away, tires spinning on gravel, refusing to glance back until miles separated us. Only then did I notice the blood. Max's fur matted near his flank, a shallow gash oozing. Someone, or something, had sliced him deliberately. Panic renewed, I veered to the roadside, rummaging the trunk for the emergency kit my dad always stocked. Bandaging him amid his soft whines, guilt twisted in my gut. Had I failed him? But as the wound cleaned, a semblance of peace returned. The ordeal haunted the remaining drive, a surreal blur I buried deep, never sharing with kin. Why? Perhaps some horrors are too raw to voice, lingering like shadows in the mind. Story 2. Picture this. Stranded in a blinding snowstorm, you accept a ride from a stranger who seems like a savior, only to realize too late that his intentions are far darker, forcing a desperate leap into the unknown that could save your life or seal your fate. This chilling encounter happened to me on New Year's Eve several years back, as I journeyed to my folks' home in rural upstate New York. They resided a solid drive away, nestled in the Adirondack foothills, so I'd set out mid-afternoon, anticipating arrival with hours to spare for our traditional festivities. Champagne toasts, board games, and watching the ball drop amid laughter. I'm someone who savors solitary drives. They offer a rare chance to unwind, reflect on the year's highs and lows, and mentally reset. But nature had its own agenda. Snowflakes began dancing about an hour in, gentle at first, painting the landscape in ethereal white. I even admired the serene beauty, the way it softened the rolling hills and muted the world's edges. Yet I must have tempted fate, for the flakes thickened into a relentless barrage, evolving into a full-fledged nor'easter. The interstate grew treacherous, sheets of ice forming under tires, visibility plummeting to mere feet. My compact hatchback, ill-suited for such extremes, fishtailed on inclines, each skid sending jolts of adrenaline through me. Continuing felt suicidal. Visions of spinning out or colliding flashed vividly, so I eased onto a wide shoulder, far from traffic lanes, though vehicles were scarce in the maelstrom. I fired off a message to my parents, downplaying the peril to ease their worry, but their replies brimmed with concern. "We'll be fine," I assured. though doubt crept in like the encroaching cold. I'd foolishly overlooked checking forecasts thoroughly, a lapse born of overconfidence. Hunkering down, I prayed the tempest would subside, but it intensified, drifts accumulating around my wheels, wind shrieking like a banshee. An hour ticked by, then another. Mobility seemed impossible. Dad suggested braving the storm to fetch me, but I vetoed it vehemently. Risking 2 lives was madness. Police were a last resort. Without roadside assistance, options dwindled. Exhaustion loomed, the prospect of overnighting in the car terrifying. Fuel depletion meant freezing. Constant heat drained the battery. I rationed warmth in bursts, thoughts spiraling into isolation's abyss. Loneliness amplifying every howl outside. Then salvation appeared in my mirrors, beams piercing the whiteout, a plow truck rumbling alongside. Elation surged, rescue at last. I cranked down the window, greeting the driver, a grizzled man in his 60s, clad in a bulky parka and wool cap tugged low. His face bore the etchings of hard living, deep furrows from years battling elements, eyes shadowed under heavy brows. He paused oddly long, scrutinizing me silently, before gruffly inquiring if I needed aid. His voice rasped like gravel, hinting at chain-smoking habits, unsettling in its timbre. I explained my predicament, voice steady despite inner tremors. He agreed the roads were unforgiving for my vehicle, pondering before eyeing my interior curiously. Then the offer, a lift to safety. Hesitation flickered, stranger danger ingrained from youth, but alternatives were grim. He affirmed he could detour to my destination. What of my car? Abandon it for now, he shrugged. Swallowing unease, I snatched essentials and clambered into his heated cab, the warmth thawing my chilled bones, tension easing slightly. We exchanged basics. I detailed my route, but his responses were curt, silence stretching uncomfortably. As miles passed, alarm bells rang. He veered opposite my path, GPS protesting vehemently. Politely questioning, I masked rising fear, but his tone shifted subtly, assuring a quicker back road. Ignorance of the terrain silenced arguments, yet instincts screamed wrongness. Scrutiny revealed red flags, discarded beer cans at his feet, crumpled atlases jammed haphazardly, a glint of steel, a blade tucked between cushions. Heart racing audibly, sweat beating despite the heat. I feigned calm while plotting escape. Navigation confirmed deviations, recalibrating futilely as he ignored prompts. A lone farmhouse materialized ahead, a beacon in the desolation. Seizing the moment, I braced, yanked the handle, and shouldered the door open. Gale force winds assaulted me, but I tumbled out, agony shooting through my ankle on impact. Undeterred, I limped, sprinted toward lights, the man bellowing curses behind, fumbling, perhaps for a weapon. Terror fueled my flight, snow hampering steps, until I hammered the door, pleading entry. An elderly couple hauled me inside, barricading against the storm. Gasping explanations, they summoned authorities without delay. By patrol arrival, the plow vanished into the white void. Searches yielded nothing amid the fury. Officers ferried me home, arranging a tow. Reunion brought relief mingled with rage. Dad's fury mirrored my own. I've avoided winter drives since, haunted by what-ifs. Had I stayed, would I have vanished? The memory chills deeper than any blizzard. Story 3. Envision arriving at a secluded frozen lake for a cherished tradition, only to be lured into a deadly ambush by desperate cries for help. Guns drawn, valuables stripped, leaving you stranded in sub-zero wilderness, questioning if survival was mere luck. This ordeal struck me a few winters ago in the remote wilds of Manitoba, Canada, where I've called home since boyhood. Parties never appealed. Even during university days, the raucous scene lost its charm fast. I preferred intimate bonds, forging memories with trusted pals over superficial revelry. Growing up without much maternal presence or kin, my father's annual New Year's Eve ice fishing ritual became sacred. Him, his sibling, my sibling, and cronies braving Arctic temps on a glassy expanse while the world partied elsewhere. Dad's passed now, my brother relocated to Toronto ages back, yet I uphold the custom religiously, a tether to heritage amid life's flux. It wards off solitude's sting on such nights. My comrades, Jake and Dylan, sturdy woodsman types with beards and builds suited for frontier life, share my ethos. We're kindred spirits, more attuned to nature's rhythms than urban clamor. That evening, Jake piloted his rugged pickup, ideal for hauling, massive treads, all-wheel grip, bed crammed with tackle, poles, augers, lures, a towable sleigh, and a collapsible hut against biting gusts. Weather promised crisp skies, but Manitoba's whims demand vigilance. We packed extras, from thermals to flares, deeming ourselves ready. Our destination, an obscure pond shrouded by conifers, ice reliably thick, untrammeled by crowds. That's its allure, seclusion fostering camaraderie in potential hauls. As Jake maneuvered snowy lanes, anticipation bubbled. The hush of drilling holes, lines dipping, banter flowing trumped any bar's din. Parking at the path's end, a figure caught my eye. Stationed yards off, swathed in layers, immobile as a statue, gaze fixed on us. Initially, I pegged him as another enthusiast, but his phone glances, down, up, repeat, felt calculated, unnerving. A prickle of unease rose. I whispered to the guys, "That dude's giving me vibes." Dylan dismissed it casually. Jake concurred silently, but tension lingered as we unpacked. Abruptly, he charged, flailing limbs, screeching for aid. His companion had plunged through thin ice, alerted via call. Urgency laced his pleas, authenticity undeniable. Instinct overrode caution. Dylan bolted out first. We trailed, pursuing him trailward sans gear or jackets. Hypothermia, a distant worry amid crisis. He dashed ahead, us puffing to match, but deviations jarred, bypassing prime zones for fringes where ice thinned perilously. Doubt swelled, but momentum carried us. Then, revelation. Two accomplices loitered lakeside, attire mismatched for angling, poised expectantly. Weapons gleamed in grips, pistols aimed our way. Blood froze. The helper pivoted, grinned sly. Trap sprung. One barked halt, barrel trained on me. The gut-wrench sensation indescribable. A void where courage fled, replaced by primal dread. They demanded keys, wallets, all. Compliance was survival. Jake lobbed his fob. We surrendered items. I clutched my cell covertly, but a snarled command extracted it. Jake fibbed his phone's location, earning jeers. Fury boiled. How naive we'd been, lured by feigned distress. Fists balled, I fantasized retaliation, but firearms quelled impulses. They herded us pathward at gunpoint, one commandeering Jake's rig and fleeing, others melting into timber, likely to their escape vehicle. Pursuit tempted, but futility won. Shivering in shock, Jake revealed his hidden device. Service flickered, but he dialed emergency, recounting chaos. Dispatch urged stillness. We clustered for heat, rage simmering. Jake vented explosively, pummeling trunks, profanities echoing, his loss keenest. I processed numbly. Why here, now? Random opportunists? Targeted? Authorities arrived, statements taken, chauffeuring us to Dylan's nearby abode. Jake's truck vanished eternally, culprits evaded. Dylan posits chance encounter. I ponder orchestration's improbability. No crowds guaranteed prey. The enigma endures, a scar on tradition, Yet we persist, wiser, bonded tighter by shared peril.